Heidi ho y'all, I am Poppi Thrash Da Leo. Thank y'all so much for y'all support and kindness. I wanted to go ahead and talk to y'all about my beautiful travel souvenirs that I picked up along the way with my travel journey. But this time it's going to be the domestic / USA version. So I've been to over 32 states in my life. And honestly, it was the most liberating thing that I did when I was traveling solo. My first ever solo female travel trip was to Montreal, Canada, but that's gonna be in another video. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and show y'all the beautiful things that made it home with me, not only with just my solo travels, but also like with family and friends and stuff like that. So let's get started. The first thing I want to start off with, I want to say my biggest accomplishment of them all was Hawaii. I went to Honolulu back in January 2022, and this is the beautiful tiki that I picked up at the ABC store. And I look at it and I'm just like, wow, a beautiful piece of Polynesian culture. Because I remember just going to Hawaii and I was like, everything is so tropical. Like when I tell y'all, it is truly paradise in the United States. Despite the resilience that Hawaii goes through, it truly is a paradise. I tell you, man, like it is just such a beautiful, beautiful state. And I even got the privilege to go to Iolani's palace, which was so fun. And the fact that Hawaiian royalty was still very rich throughout the history there, and I can tell just by the culture and the people and the hierarchy statuses was just so amazing. So every time I look at this little guy, I just think about the different types of cultures I encountered while I was in Hawaii. So speaking of Hawaii, I also got this beautiful Lee, sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, and I remember just like wearing this, and I'm gonna try to like link my pictures either in the video or just in my TikToks from my past travel clips. And when I got this, I took a picture right in front of my hostel. I stayed at the Polynesian hotel, I think that's what it's called. I stayed it right in Waikiki Beach, and it was a really cool hostel. I have some stories within that. I will definitely talk about like my crazy travel stories on my TikTok as well, and also like in videos. But I remember I was just landing and I got in like around, I want to say 11 p.m. on Hawaiian time. And I remember like when I was arriving from the airport, and airport is beautiful. Everything is literally outside. Like I never saw an airport that literally screamed tropical tiki vibes. Like everything was made out of like wood, and it was so hot outside. So when I literally just like went outside to like wait during the layover, and also like when I was in between my flight from mainland to Hawaii while I was waiting for my plane to go to LA, I really took advantage and I started sleeping like at the outside door area, because that's how beautiful the airport was. And I'm going to include that into like the little vlog where I talk about my experience. But yeah, when I got this, it just really screams like the beautiful memories I had when I was there. And my brain is just like going by 100 miles per hour just thinking about how beautiful Hawaii was. And I can't wait to show y'all the vlog and me talking about my experiences. So let's see what we got here. Oh yep, speaking of Hawaii, I got this little beautiful coconut. It's so pretty. I got this little guy from the airport. Now, I want to say Moana did a really good job representing Polynesian culture, because I actually watched 3 Hawaiian themed movies. Of course, I had to support my boy, Jason Momoa. I have to. As much as I hated Aquaman as a superhero, like Jason Momoa did Aquaman so well, in my opinion, that he made me love Aquaman. And I figured since I'm going to his home state, why not I just like get things related to themes of like what I learned about Hawaii on the mainland. And afterwards, I mentioned Aquaman because I also watched afterwards Moana. And when I watched Moana, I remember the little pirate coconut people things that I saw. And this little guy reminded me so much of the pirates from Moana. And honestly, it's such a privilege and an honor to be able to honor Hawaiian and Polynesian culture. And just like when I travel in general to different places, because it just reminds me how unique and beautiful everyone is in our little planet. And it just reminds me, like, when I look at this guy, about what he represented and what he is made up by the core, and how much, I really have admiration for the Hawaiian people. So I'm gonna set him aside right here. And I guess we'll move on to New Orleans. I went to Mardi Gras this year in 2025. And this broke because this was thrown at me. And I laugh because just like, even though New Orleans was such a beautiful and honestly, like, it was a very quirky city. I did see quite a lot of things, and that'll be another story for another day. But the fact that I was able to have the privilege to go to Mardi Gras this year was beautiful. And my biggest tip is I stayed in hostels. I don't really like to spend too much money on a hotel because I'm gonna be out and about anyway, so I kind of find it a bit pointless for me to like splurge on a hotel, especially since I'm very outdoorsy and social. So yeah, I got that thrown at me, but thankfully I caught it. I didn't get hurt, but you're gonna get a lot of stuff thrown at you in Mardi Gras, even like prior to everything leading up in Mardi Gras. Yeah, people are gonna chuck some things at you, not because they hate you, because it's part of like the celebration before Lent. So speaking of that, I got the privilege to see a lot of the crews. So this is the crew of Femme Fatale, and I love these ladies so much because Femme Fatale is my favorite word ever. Like, just so much beauty, so much femininity, so much essence. And this crew, when I saw them, the ladies were amazing. And I hate the fact my phone died when they came out, but I wanted to see them in the Muses because honestly, with the crew of the Muses, those ladies have the high heels, and I gotta catch that. But I got this beautiful necklace thrown at me, and I wish it lit up still, but it was just so amazing, and it just reminded me of girl power. I also got this drone too at me. I'm gonna see if it turns on, y'all. Oh, yep, it still turns on. Nice. And then I'm not gonna lie. When I went to New Orleans this year, there were a lot of crews, but just we have the feminine crews. There also were like the male crews, like the masculine crews. And I remember I really liked this guy's costume, and I was very particular in catching it from him exactly, because I really wanted to salute him for how the way he had his costume. So it was the Knights of Babylon, the Gates of Ishtar, and this is it up close, y'all. And I love how the way like it was just lined up and he had in his hand. So I was trying to flag him down. I was just like, pick me. And then that's when like he made eye contact with me, because you gotta make eye contact with them, otherwise they will kind of overlook you because of the crowds. And that's when he's like, and I was like, and that's when I caught it. Because the thing is though too, like at Mardi Gras, since so much stuff is thrown at you and some people on the parades do catch your eye, you kind of want to, take advantage of that, because, once it's gone, it's gone. But yeah, shout out to the homie who threw this at me, and shout out to his killer outfit. And what else did I got? Oh yeah. So here's the beautiful thing about traveling. You meet so many people from so many different backgrounds, and it's one of those things like when you're generally are connecting with the people, you don't know who's associated with who, and that can be a really good thing. So this beautiful young lady, she was part of crew of Morpheus, and she was in the same dorm room as me. And I said, oh my gosh, I love your outfit. And we were just talking about the festivities and we were getting very excited. And I know me just like being a naturally open person, she was kind of stressed out about like finances for her trip. So I reassured her too that I made mistakes myself during my trips. You know, don't feel like you're a screw up because of those. And she was so sweet. And she said, yeah, because I'm a part of the parade. And I was like, what? I said, what crew you were in? She was just like, I'm in crew Morpheus. And I said, that's so amazing. I said, wow, I never thought I was sitting next to a crew member. And I told her, like, you know, where I was from and where she grew up at. And yeah, she said, you're so nice to me, so I just want to give you this from my crew. And I just really wrote, like, the crew member, and I literally said, thank you so much. And I just had a smiley face, so I was just like, wow. And the best part is about traveling is that you never know who you're going to meet. And sometimes those people actually become really good lifelong friends, or they really just stick by, because in some cultures, once you're friends with someone, especially internationally, they're there for you for life, man. Like, there's no turning back, no matter how many times y'all separate. Like, y'all gonna eventually connect. Yeah, so this one is from Texas. And Texas is actually one of my favorite states that I've been to. I was seeing my godmom at the time, and this is like when I went to the Fort Worth Stockyards, Fort Worth, Dallas. And honestly, I love how Dallas and Fort Worth was like on a day and night for me. And I got the privilege to meet the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders dressing room, and I'm going to include that into my vlog. I also ate delicious food. I went to this wonderful restaurant called Boomer Jack, and I also went to Trophy's Chest. It kind of reminded me of a privately owned version of Hooters, but hey, I I loved it. The food was good, everything was huge, and the ladies were amazing. So I got this beautiful, beautiful gift from this artisan. I sponsored their privately owned shops on the Stockyards. And because I'm Christian too, this is a beautiful, like, open and closed door for a cowboy bowing down at Jesus' cross. And honestly, when I just look at it, oh, here's the artisan. His name is Jacob Hendricks. Shout out to you, Mr. Jacob Hendricks, for this beautiful box. Like, this was beautifully crafted. And this was for $40. Now, I just look at this and I was like, wow, this is really nice. And when I just look at like little things like that, when people just take their time, especially me as a artisan myself, I just look at it, I'm just like, wow, the amount of labor, the amount of creativity is just truly amazing. So I remember running into the shop and it was just so like humbly set. Like, everything looked like it was handmade, especially the jewelry. Everyone was so sweet, everyone was so welcoming. It was just so family oriented. I don't know what it is about family owned businesses, but they're just so kind, and I really take that over corporate days any day. So yes, thank you so much. Another thing was oh my goodness. So I'm a quirky girl. I really am. I'm very quirky, and y'all guys are gonna learn that about me as y'all see my art and my jewelry. But a part of me that I love about being so open-minded, especially as someone who travels, is that I really get things that I don't see every day. So I went to this very strange attraction in New Orleans called the Museum of Death. And I'm a little nervous about showing y'all this, but I'm going to show y'all a glimpse of it. It's basically sheep eyeballs for like taxidermy and like, you know, specimens for like science labs. And I remember my trip there was, that's a story for another day too. Like, it was so strange. Like, I never felt so fascinated, yet so disturbed, yet so spooked out of my mind. And then, like, when I look at that little oddity. I'm like, I make oddities myself. So I figured, why not get that? Like, you know, I had that moment in my head where I was like, YOLO, like, let's do it. Like, let's go ahead and get that, you know, strange oddity gift of sheep eyeballs and just say, oh yeah, I went to this Museum of Death attraction. So that's where I went. But on a more, you know, normal note, normal, right? I went ahead and went to this beautiful boutique called Gimme Boutique. And I got these cute little bear earrings. How cute are these little angels? Like, this shop owner, she was incredibly sweet. And I told her I was an upcoming small business owner myself. And I love to just go around the world and sponsor small businesses. But her beautiful shop is called Gimme Boutique. And it's located on Toulouse. It's Rue de Toulouse, I believe. My French is not the best, but it's definitely on Toulouse Street. And yeah, look at these little angels. They are just the cutest little things. And excuse me, sometimes I just wear those little babies because it just reminds me like of childhood innocence. And as you see with my art too. By the way, my shop is a weirdo named Cake. Excuse me while I get some water. So, yes, but shout out to her and her shop. I really appreciate it. And of course, this is just like old tickets from my trips and train tickets from throughout the years. New Orleans, Boston, New York, many others. I got this thrown at me, but I'm not allowed to show it. But it really was like a pair of boobs on the Mardi Gras necklace when I literally walked down Bourbon Street. Yep. So I feel like it's going to take a lot of hours filming everything. So I'll just show y'all in summary. And some clip is too on my TikToks. But these are concert tickets. It's Jonas Brothers, Janet Jackson, Charlie Wilson. I know this is all about Child, but hey, I gotta represent my hometown too. Local Baltimore girl here. I remember this. So although it's not travel, I have to do the honorable mention. Charlie Puth with Ruth B. I met them both. I met Charlie Puth. He was kind of witty, I'm not gonna lie. I remember like I was in line because I won the random raffle to meet Ruth B, and she was an absolute sweetheart, so shout out to her if she ever sees this video. And I remember Charlie. I was just like, you know, minding my business waiting for him, like her, and I remember I saw some guy in a hoodie and he was surrounded by like a little posse. And I remember me being polite. I was like, what's up? And he was like, and I'm not gonna lie, not to be funny, you know, but I saw like the little... Then that's what all of us realized in line. We was like, and he's like, shh. And I was like, we were like, okay, we won't say nothing. You know, we saw you. But I like how he did it. He was slick for that. Yeah, so that was the travel portion of concerts and stuff. Traveling within my hometown. And let's go ahead and look at some photos. So y'all not gonna believe this. I went to Gatorland in Florida. That was an amazing experience, and honestly, I was very intimidated, if you could definitely tell, but later I obviously warmed up because I am holding a snake around my neck in this picture and an alligator. And I remember I want to call her the zookeeper. She was just like, are you afraid of snakes? I said, no, I actually love snakes. You know, I think they're a nice part of the ecosystem. She's like, are you afraid of alligators? I said, yeah, but I respect them. And I remember she said, okay, well, the snake is nicer than the alligator. And I was like, but honestly, the baby was very kind and well behaved. I'm glad he felt safe around me, and also the snake too. And honestly, looking back at the photo, I was like, they kind of feel like a little bit cold, but they were very relaxed on me. And at the time, I didn't know that animals, like when they sense that your demeanor is calm and relaxed, they also relax too. And this is living proof of it, because I was just like, wow, one of the most predatory animals on the planet are actually really calm. And this one, when I went to Rockahula, yes, that's me right there. I truly enjoyed my time. The fire shows, Elvis and Michael. You know, Elvis and Michael, those are my boys now. I swear to you, I don't have a strange fetish over dead men, I swear to you, but they are seriously like my celebrity crushes if I were to exist back in the time that they did. They are just so iconic. And Michael, he was just truly an amazing gem. And so with Elvis, like, and I could tell you in Hawaii, they really loved them both, but they definitely went nuts over Michael a little bit more than Elvis. So that was a beautiful memory. Let's see, what else, y'all? Oh, yeah. I went to Ben Franklin's tower in Philadelphia. I also went to my city, Baltimore, tattoo arts convention. I love those. And this is me at Madame Tussauds. And I was just thinking that back then I was a teenager, and I was just thinking that one day I could see myself doing public speaking. Now look, public speaking, businesswoman deal, right? Yep, and I know this is travel again, but I actually met my favorite band, Mariana's Trench. They were the sweetest guys ever, and I had a huge crush on Josh Ramsey, so I guess you could say I met my celebrity crush. And I remember I was sitting up close, and I caught the set list. And the funny thing about the gift of being a black girl, right? I was front row, and I was the only black person there at the moment for the meet and greet at that time. And it made me laugh because it's just like, around where I am, a lot of people don't really know of them, but when you meet those few, they're like the little unicorns. But I want to say at the moment, I was the only black girl in line at the moment before any other the girls came. And I remember when they saw me, they were just like, oh my gosh, hi. They literally lit up, and I was just like blushing because I was just like, oh my gosh, I feel special. And it was nice because they talked to me a little bit more longer, because if you think about it, when an artist has like a diverse crowd of fans, it's really amazing, like, you know, when they recognize you and they're just like, we gotta get to know, like, you know, we gotta talk to him or her. So that was really nice. Some of these are international travel moments, and I'm trying my best, like, to get a better scrapbook, but eventually, right? Yep. Iolani's Palace. Let's see. I'm trying to see what else is domestic. Yeah. Yeah, some pamphlets too. Like, that's an easy souvenir to pick up. My thing is, so too, if you ever travel, try to get like little pamphlets of your destination, because you get like that little visual just in case any of your photos get lost. Yes, that's what I saw. Y'all should really go. And yeah, this is like the pineapple experience in Hawaii, because that's where they grow. They grow the little pineapples there. When I went to Hawaii, I was actually very surprised that some things you just cannot bring from the mainland, especially fruits, because a lot of the stuff is at risk from the mainland to there. So they actually had to scan all of our suitcases as soon as we got off the plane. because they didn't want, like, infest your land, and they don't deserve that. And this is, I'm gonna go back eventually to Hawaii, but this is the Polynesian Cultural Center, and I recommend everyone to go. I was almost about to go, but unfortunately I ran out of time, and I had work the next 2 days after my trip, so try to take 2 days off extra when you travel. But it's so beautiful, and they have a really wonderful feast. And I will say with Hawaii, the food was delicious. I really enjoyed my meals there, and they were huge. Like, I had a lot of pork, I had local moco, I had so much delicious food. And I also supported a local business, Lee's Cafe, so if they're still in business, try to support them. Let's see what else. Oh yeah! And this is the boutique shop I was telling you about, Gimme. Yep, Toulouse Street. And I went to the Vampire Cafe in New Orleans. It was cool. I will say, as someone who saw the stereotype of vampires, they were quite intimidating. And I know I have an essence to me, but that right there, I was like, let me stay on their good side. But they were really cool, and I love their outfits, by the way. I told this one beautiful woman, I said, I love your cloak, it's so pretty. She said, thank you. And she seated me, and I drank fruit punch out of a blood bag. And I definitely will show y'all clips of that. But yeah, it was really, really lovely. And this is the speakeasy, because I actually supported their shop. It's a speakeasy called Potions Lounge New Orleans, and you have to take this ticket with you, because if you don't have your ticket, you're not allowed in, of course. And basically, you go into the courtyard and present that card and tell them the vampire sent me. And it says open from 4 p.m. till ... and $20 after 7 p.m. And honestly, I can't wait to go back. And the thing about traveling is it really opens up your mind and your heart to so many different people, to the point you kind of do forget about your own little world. Alright, in Chicago, the musical. I was almost about to go to that too. But the thing about me is, a travel hack that I do is that I'm kind of sly. Like, when I try to travel, like, while I'm working. Like, I try to, like, do, like, 2 or days of a trip, or worst case scenario, like, 1 day, like a day trip. And babes, don't underestimate that. You can do a lot in a destination if you have 1 day only. So, if y'all want to know, like, how did I do it with the limited time, and honestly, sometimes limited budget I had, I literally just, like, shortened my days, and I just kind of, like, crammed everything in there, and also still had a little bit of free will at the same time. Yep, and I also went to Cat's Deli. I also got this from Coney Island. Yep, and I'm gonna show off my magnet collection in another video, because your girl's starting to get a little hungry. But yep, and I went to the circus sideshow, and y'all will see that on my TikTok. And I also went to the Coney Island Museum, and I'm gonna do a history analyst on it as a businesswoman myself, because as beautiful as Coney Island is, I was very curious to research about what caused Coney Island to be so fun, so intoxicatingly amazing for escapism from the adult life of New York City, from it to being kind of like on the darker edges of the escapism, and how did the business cause some of that to happen, because I've been doing some research, so I'm going to put that hook in my TikTok for y'all. And yeah, and I went to the American Girl. Yeah, I remember these. I went to this, the American Girl store this year. That was super fun. Yeah, so babes, I'm going to go ahead and end it right here. and upload this. But I'm gonna get something to eat and get back to work, and then finish up my room after I get off. But thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to keep up with your girl, and yeah, many more to come. XOXO.